Hello, everyone. You can't tell right now, but my room is a complete wreck right now. Because I am kind of doing a renovation. Renovation. It's more like just adding a shelf, and then I'm gonna connect my Sega Genesis to a receiver on the other side of the room. But I digress. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way, if you celebrate it. So, for the past few days, I've been researching the Atari 2600. I don't know why, but late one night, I just decided, you know what? Having an Atari 2600 sounds good. And I remembered that Atari, a couple of years ago, I think it was last year in 2023, released something called the Atari 2600 Plus. And essentially, this was a console that allowed you to play basically all Atari 2600 games and 7800 games, which was kind of a, not kind of, it was a failed console. Um, it allows you to play all of them on one system, and most importantly through the original cartridge. So if you have a bunch of old cartridges laying around, or you just prefer physical media like a lot of retro gamers or me, or you don't want to go the flashback route, which the flashback series has gone on for a while and it's been good. Don't get me wrong, it's a good series. I don't have one, but I've heard they're decent. But they're just kind of like reliant on not caring about having physical media or pirating your ROMs, because some of them allow you to insert an SD card with the ROMs attached already on them. But essentially, I was looking at Atari 2600 Pluses, and I think they go for about 130. Right now, they're on sale for 109. So I was thinking about maybe getting one or something, and I decided to look on the internet to see what they'd said, because I kind of didn't follow up much about the. I didn't follow up much about the Atari 2600 Plus at the time of release. I knew it was releasing, but I didn't pay attention to it because I didn't have money. I still don't. Um, but anyway, I didn't pay much attention. I didn't even know that they released a 7800 Plus, which was the same thing as the 2600 Plus, but in the shell of a 7800. But I kind of prefer the 2600, and you know, just whatever. It's personal preference. They're like the same thing. Anyway, I decided to look online. I was looking at different games, and I saw this Reddit post that detailed basically that the Atari 2600 had been announced. Like, this was back from, let me see when this was written. Well, it doesn't say exactly, but it says 1 year ago. So, I mean, this was over a year ago. And I decided to look at it, and I kind of found out that people were a little hateful towards it. Don't mind me pulling up the page on my Xbox One, but I don't exactly have a computer, and I didn't feel like charging any other device to show you, so I pulled it up on my Xbox through Microsoft Edge. First and second mistake right there. Anyway, um, apparently the Atari community is pretty huge, or at least big. The subreddit alone has 390,000 members. I just wanted to tell you that that is not true. Please stick around later so I can explain how I messed that up. Thank you. Apparently 96 of them are online right now. I'm like, what? Why? Anyway, so like this guy seemed a little bit excited. He put an exclamation mark, and stuff. So, he seemed pretty excited. And the first comment, and what I think that what I'm trying to say in this video is that Atari fans seem like they're kind of snobs, which is kind of weird to me because the console that they are snobbing over released in 1977, and for scale, that is the year that the first Star Wars released. That is. I'm trying to think of ways to put this. The 8-track was still a viable way of um listening to music. Um I'm pretty sure Ford Pintos were still exploding at that point. Um So, like, this console is, what, like 47 years old? About, I think. 47 years old. It is the first popular, um, it is the first popular gaming console. I mean, arcades were a thing at the time, I think, but they were simple, like, I don't think Pac-Man had been released at that point. So, I mean, that gives you a general idea of how far back this actually goes, right? The Atari 2600 is such an old console. It was before the NES even, which was, one of the first consoles that, well, it's the oldest console that people really go back to, which was why I was surprised that it has 390,000 subscribers to the subreddit. Anyway, back to the point, I don't see why they're snobbing over it, because it's like, this console is so old. What is there to snob over? The games look like, well, whatever I show on screen. Anyway, so, I mean, there's nothing here to actually snob over. So, let me show you what I mean. And maybe I'm taking this the wrong way. Maybe I'm actually an Atari fanboy and I'm just too involved in this. Like, anyway. Oh! Okay. Small correction. This isn't the Atari subreddit. It's the just retro gaming subreddit. My bad. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Here's the actual thing. Okay, yeah. Yeah, alright. Yeah, 14,000 members. That's not nearly as many. You might not even be able to tell what it says on screen. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, this is 14,000. I mean, that's still it's a small community, but, it's pretty small. But, that doesn't change anything, because, at least for the context of this video, it actually makes my context even fairer of a point. But, essentially, they're snobs. I kept saying that. Let me, elaborate. This person says, it's a super cheap generic ARM emulation box with an ancient rock chip processor, DDR3 RAM, not even compatible with all games. It's being sold for way more money than other ARM emulation boxes with similar hardware. The case isn't even authentic. It's not quite full-sized. The company making it has no connection to the original Atari other than having bought the rights to the name. It's basically one of those Atari flashback things without any games built in. I don't know. Once again, I might be taking this the wrong way. I'm not sure, and if I am, well, I'm not that sorry, but you can let me know. But I almost feel like, and maybe I shouldn't be supporting, coming to the defense of multi-million-dollar corporations, but at the same time, the person who actually cares enough to write this comment is most likely an Atari fan. I mean, that's just reasonable suspicion. You are suspected of being an Atari fan! But anyway, the person who would write this is obviously somewhat in the know about an Atari 2600. And, I mean, like, I feel like he's being a little too critical, or they, I guess. I mean, I don't know if it's a he. Could be a she. Or something else. I don't know. But whoever this person is being too critical, I think, because as an Atari fan, wouldn't you want someone else to experience what you want? And Atari games are pretty niche. Like I said, they look like whatever I just showed on screen. I still don't know what gameplay I'm going to use. But, the Atari thing is pretty niche. So I figured something like this would be an Atari fan's dream. Like, wow, a new generation can experience this on new hardware, on HDMI. We'll get to that part later, because they had something to say about HDMI. But I figured that Atari fans would like this because it's just easier all around. And if they like the original 2600, you know, the one from 1977, that's fine. But, like, I thought this would be, like, cool for them because they're like, yay, we can spread our community. I don't know. But we'll get to that. And maybe it is a bit more expensive. I mean, $130 is quite a bit. But I mean, like, at the same time, this one's also, you know, licensed by Atari. I mean, I don't know. That one might be a little bit of a gray area. Yeah, it's a bit more expensive. But I feel like they're being too critical. Like, oh, it uses emulation. It's not, can't even play most games. I looked at the compatibility list, and, like, 4 games out of 300 were confirmed to fail the compatibility test. Like, I don't think that's that big of a deal. You know, like, the average consumer isn't going to care that much, and an Atari fan obviously hates this thing, so, they can go play it on their Darth Vader console. You know, it just occurred to me while I was making this video that Atari fans are like Weezer fans. In the way that Weezer fans hate whenever Weezer releases music, Atari fans, my bad, hate whenever you talk about Atari or make something Atari or buy something Atari or talk about Atari. I don't know. Atari fans just seem to hate Atari. I will say this person made a good point. Frustrating that I play 7,800 games, but they aren't selling a 2-button control. That's valid. I mean, they released one, but you know, they released it later. There is a 7,800 controller for it, but you know. And here's another person talking about a low-end CPU, which I mean, like, even if it is, I'm not sure I really get what they're saying, because wasn't the original one, like a low-end CPU? I'm pretty sure anything can be run off of any... I'm pretty sure any Atari game could be run off of any CPU. They take nothing to run. I mean, like, you know, you get what I'm saying? The Atari 2600 is such a weak console that a CPU shouldn't matter, and especially if it's directly from the cartridge, I just don't see any reason why that would matter. Like, in the slightest? Anyway, and then this person said, yeah, but also, why only 10 games, meaning the cartridge that's bundled in with it? Why only 10 games? Because, I mean, like, they don't want to put every single game on a cartridge? You know, it's supposed to be a sampler pack. I don't think it's supposed to be, like, this big thing. It's supposed to be a taste for the system, so maybe you explore on your own, I guess? I don't know, like I said, maybe I'm coming to the defense of Atari too much, but, you know. I mean, this person said, or you can buy an original one, perfect condition, for like $20. First of all, can you please show me where you find an Atari 2600 for $20? Because, I want to see. I want one. Because I've never seen one for $20. Seen them for like $40. And also, perfect condition. They can't possibly be in perfect condition. Most of them are gonna need some at least cleaning at the slightest. If not, and they're gonna have like a bunch of dust inside of them. You know, people just throw these things in their garage. You know, people don't care enough to like put it in bubble wrap and everything. Like, people just threw them in their garage and then made 80s and kind of forgot about them, I'm assuming. You know, once the SNES is out, no one's playing on the 2600, you know, just throw it in the garage. It's gonna get filthy, dude. You get all mildewy and moldy and stuff on the inside. Maybe not that bad, but it's gonna be gross on the inside. And it probably won't work that well if it's gross. I mean, I will say that Atari 2600 was kind of a juggernaut of a system, and by that I mean, like, you could probably hit it with a hammer don't do this. you'd probably hit it with a hammer a couple times and it would be fine. I think it was one of the replies to this. And then, yeah, and someone brought up a valid point, and just plug it into a modern display with sharp picture. I think they meant sharp. But, like, this person, who in the heck is going to play an Atari 2600 on a 4K TV? I mean, this is a 720p TV. But, like, me? That's the whole point of the new system. And also, like, not everyone can afford a 30-pound extra TV just for their Atari 2600. You know, like, this is what I meant by they're super, like, pedantic. Because, like, I mean, I get what they're saying, that nobody cares enough to play them on a 4K TV. But then some people are genuinely like, no, you have to play it on an original TV. I'm like, not everyone can afford that, you know? And not every modern TV can play this ancient coaxial Atari 2600. You know, like, people, you can't just plug that directly in, I don't think. I mean, I think there's a port, but I don't think it reads it. I don't know. I tried plugging my Sega Genesis's RF port into the TV through the antenna, and it didn't work. Maybe I did something wrong, but, you know, it didn't do anything. So I'm a little confused on what happened there. And then someone said, yeah, but you can't just plug it into a modern TV. Modern TVs still have RF input. Then why won't it work on mine? I don't understand. This is like 2008. Can someone show me how to do that? Because I don't know. I mean, I plugged it in and it didn't do it. So, I mean, and the most modern TVs still have RF inputs. And even if they don't, you could just add a $30 RF to HDMI, whatever. I mean, yeah, that's a fair point, but at the same time, it still goes back to every other point I made. And then this person said, yeah, you could plug it into a coax jack on a TV, just takes, like, less than $1 adapter. And then they also, like, agreed to have HDMI, because that'd be nice. Someone got downvoted. I don't know what he said that was bad, but, I mean, I thought it was a fair point. This absolute OG said, back in the day, we would use the switch boxes with the dual VHF screws. I'm assuming that means something. I don't know what it means. Probably even routed through some dodgy VCR. Like my Sega Genesis. It's routed through a VCR. It's the only, like I said, it wouldn't work on here. I don't know what I did wrong. But anyway, I can't imagine the lag on a modern HDMI converter, because that's one of the things that people are bringing up. But most people who are defending the fact that you need an old TV also probably have a TV that has the mode that stops input lag, you know, like, there's ways around it. Oh my gosh, I just noticed something interesting. This person said, that's awesome. I'm not surprised the reaction is mixed because of how our community is, but I think it's terrific personally. What a chill dude. I mean, like, that's just cool. It's a good opinion, you know, just let it happen. I'm trying to find, like, a specific, comment I found. Atari 2600 emulation box, no better in games, just pricier and has an official label. Besides, how many great Ace 2600 games are there out there that warrant paying 130 quid? Okay, they're somewhere besides here. We got those big American bucks, but whatever. Novelty item as per. Not really. I wouldn't really say it's a novelty album. I mean, it's not a novelty item, my bad. It's kind of like it's a 2600. There's no way around it. I mean, it's basically the same thing. And also, I'm hoping I find the comment, but someone said, like, yeah, but most consoles don't play 7,800 games, which is also something that this one does. And then there were some people saying that the 2600 is just too old to be enjoyable, like the graphics are too simple, which, I mean, like, that's neither here nor there. I mean, that's just personal opinion. That's, I mean, to be fair, it all is, but, like, that's the games themselves. It's not people being snobby. This person seemed pretty, critical about it. He mentioned, that, like, it has a useless feature like the switches and card slot. I wouldn't call it useless. I mean, that's how you play the game. And a lot of this is playing into nostalgia. In that case, I'm not sure that people who are actually bothering to play Atari 2600 games would want to just pirate them all and put them on a computer. Like, you know, that's just not the way everyone wants to go. Like, in the Switches, that's how you control the part of the game, you know, like, that's just kind of the Atari thing, you know. I mean, I just feel like they're just a little too critical. I just don't understand it, really. This person said that Atari isn't Atari anymore, which I would like to politely remind them that the last time they released a legit console was, like, the mid-90s, and it failed miserably, called the Atari Jaguar. Nobody cared about it. The 5200 failed. The 7800 failed. The Jaguar failed. The Lynx failed. Everything they made failed. So what, and this person, I'm literally quoting this person, what Atari is the real Atari? Nolan's Atari from 72 to 70, like, that's the dude, I believe the person's referencing, the dude who invented the Atari 2600, I forget his name. It's Nolan, something Nolan. Like, you know, I just find that kind of ridiculous. And some of these people are actually, like, kind of rude about it. I'm like, I just don't understand why they're so freaking out over it. You know, this is so interesting. The review is literally, like, the people are so angry. Total garbage. You haven't even used it. You haven't even used it. I just don't understand why these fanboys are so angry over a console. Why are their feelings so hurt over a console that was made 45 years ago? Why does it matter that much? It's just a fun little thing, maybe a little overpriced, but ultimately a fun thing that some people are going to like. You don't need to say total garbage before it even comes out. I mean, at least look at a review once it does. And then the person above them is like, this is so cool. the community literally got split in half by this. I don't understand. And it's so interesting. This person brought up a interesting point. I was actually thinking something similar in the regards of Nintendo. For sure, it would be a market if they re-release, let's say, the NES or SNES cartridges and all. And I have no doubt that people would eat it up just because it has a Nintendo logo. It would be no different. It could be more expensive, and people would not care at all. But then they see Atari and they're like stomping their feet and howling over it. I just don't understand why people are so angry. Completely emulated. Who cares? Who cares? No one wants to buy old cartridges, the average consumer anyway. Not sure this is made for the average consumer necessarily. The cartridge that it comes with it is for the average consumer, so they don't have to track them down on eBay. But, like, most of the people buying this are Atari fans, or people who just want to try it with the original cartridges, and they're willing to go to their local mom and pop store or eBay to find cartridges. Oh, this person, and a lot of people, not just this guy, are mentioning that Atari is not actually making the console, it's a third party. I don't think it really matters that much, and, people are just mad about it. Like, don't you guys have something better to do than criticize the decision of Atari? It's embarrassing how much I love them and their platform. Why? It's embarrassing that you love them when they were actually a company. Dude, it's been sold. I hate to tell you. Atari isn't really, making consoles anymore. They haven't since the Jaguar. And that failed miserably. It's a shame. Gosh. Alright, I think that's a bit much for today. I will try to find the comment that I found earlier, because I wanted to show you the part about the TVs that people were snobbing over. So, yeah, I'll find that, but otherwise, I'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye. I finally found it. Well, I don't think I found the exact one, but I found something pretty similar, so I'm just going to read you this one. So it was that comment I saw earlier that said, who is going to play Atari 2600 on a 4K TV? And then this person said, technically me, but that's a space issue. I'd love to pull my CRT out of the storage. Valid argument. I mean, not to mention, I get a pretty good picture jumping through all my converters anyway, so I'm not going to need a better... So I'm going to need a better reason to drop this kind of money. I'm assuming referring to a CRT. But I might be wrong. Anyway, and then this person responded, just get a 9x13 set. That's all you need for a 16-bit era games, and small CRTs tend to have better picture quality and colors due to the pixels being more compressed and having less hours put on them than a standard living room set. Whatever, technical nonsense. This person said, dude, space is a real issue. People live in apartments or even a house with no room for old TVs. I'm a poor and don't have room for a dedicated old school room. Life gets in the way, and when you become a grown-up, I'm certainly not replacing my HD TV for a clunky old TV. So basically saying I'm normal. No, I'm just kidding. Basically saying what I just said. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. My bad. Don't want to over-explain. But yeah, pretty... I mean, he wasn't rude or anything, I don't really think. Then this person responded swinging, I'm 32 and work 50 to 60 hours a week as a FedEx driver, and I live in an apartment. Yeah, I have absolutely no problem making room for a CRT. And besides, age doesn't have anything to do with anything regarding this hobby. And furthermore, if you're an adult and you're living in such a cluttered mess that you can't fit a 9-inch TV in your room, that's a you problem, and you need to get things together. Yeah, it's a small TV, but it's still a Minecraft cube-looking object. It's huge. I mean, even if it's a 9-inch square, it's still, like, got depth to it. It's a box TV. It's a box. So, and that takes up room, like he said, if you live in an apartment or a small room or a small house, It's just not logical or viable, whatever, for people living in an apartment. Especially if you already own a normal TV. And then this person was just kind of ignoring the fight, I think. This person was just saying how you could use a, couple, like, converter or two to get a good picture, and that it wasn't really important, but they'd keep it in mind. And also, it still wouldn't fit. That's the whole point he was making in the first place. And then this person responded, justifiably, by the way, my apartment isn't the cluttered mess that you might think of, but that doesn't revolve around video games. I like them, but it's not my priority. Touché. And then this is so... I want to know what he said that got removed, because this was... I mean, this was already... Wait, what was it? Or this one. I mean, this one was already pretty rude, I guess. I mean, it's not vile necessarily, but it was rude. Um, so I want to know what he said here. Probably insulted his mother or something. Um, and then the moderator just said adhere to Reddit. Wait, I think this account got deleted. I don't know. Wait, is there two? Was there? Hold on. I'm sorry. I did not open that website. Um, dude, that was a different person that got mad. I don't even know what happened there, but like this person didn't get banned, but that person did. So I want to know what that guy said. Um, and I think I actually saw the main post I was digging for back there. Of course, I lost it, so I'll just zoom ahead. Dude, this thread is funny. So this is also in response to who is playing this on a 4K TV. And then this person said, most people will. It's a shame, but folks will sacrifice all kinds of fidelity because plugging things into or via HDMI and just playing is easier than going through having dedicated TVs for older media. Which I mean, like, I don't think it matters. It really doesn't. Well, maybe he's on the. I can't tell which side he's on, honestly. Wait, let me reread it. Most people. I mean, I think he's kind of in the middle. I can't tell which side he's on, but either way, what spawns off of that is hateful. Bunch of posers. I have multiple CRTs that I use exclusively for retro gaming and watching VHS tapes when I'm feeling nostalgic. You can find good ones if you're patient, and they aren't all 500 pounds, so everyone has in their room. Dude, that's like, that's awful. Why do you have multiple CRTs? I mean, sure, I would like to own one. It'd be cool to be a nice blessing to own one, but like, I don't need multiple. And that's saying something considering I own 2 VCRs. I mean, I only bought one of them, but still. And you can tell people did not like that, but anyway. They aren't posers for it. Some people don't make their life about retro games and don't want to invest too much in it. That's fine too. Yeah, if anything, those folks are the opposite of posers. A poser would sink a bunch of money into authentic hardware without understanding why that would be preferable to the quick, cheap, and convenient route. Exactly. I mean, sure, it's nice to have the original hardware. I mean, I'd prefer it. But at the same time, it's more difficult to own 50-year-old hardware, more expensive, more space-consuming. Sometimes it's better to just use the original and play the game. Like he said, it'd be more of a poser move to play it on the original hardware just to do it instead of just enjoying the game. I mean, you gotta put yourself in the designer's shoes. If they had the option, would they have wanted to program these games on a CRT and poor hardware? No, they would use original if they had or new stuff if they had the chance. They just didn't because this was the 70s. And then this is people continuing to just say, like, just stop being stuck up about it. And had a large collection of NES and stamps. And this person's just like, everyone's just kind of doing the, like, stop being a jerk move, And then this dude responded with the best thing ever. Lol, and they're almost as useless as your Tinder account. And wouldn't you know it, that leads directly up to the guy who owns, like, multiple CRTs. And that's just That's so good. That's good. Um, but yeah, that's all I wanted to show you because this went deeper than I thought it did. It was just interesting. The final thing I wanted to say is that you should just use whatever is good for your setup. The HDMI console that they released is good for people who don't have a box TV, and like they said, a lot of TVs still have coaxial inputs, and this and that. I mean, you can still connect them, but then there's input lag, and like I said, most TVs have game mode now, which is what it's called, and it takes the input lag away. Like it gets rid of it. Um, so I mean, like you could use that, or just get an adapter that is high speed or something. Or you could just get the new one that uses HDMI and just, you know what I'm saying? Use whatever is good for your setup. You can make anything work. So just use what you want to and have fun with some stupid Atari games. Bye.